podcast with Addison Johnson. How's it going, man?
Good, brother. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing well. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Especially, you got an album coming out on Friday, 26th.
Yeah, man, it's a big week. When you're an independent, these things just don't happen overnight. It takes a couple years to kind of put a new record together. So it kind of feels like the end of a long race that we're coming to, and the beginning of a new one coming up as far as going on tour and stuff right after it's out.
So you're a lot of people aren't doing albums. So you're an
Yeah,
album guy over.
I
I know.
am. I am, and I'm old school. I just for me, like a complete body of work is is that 9 to 15 song range of, like, a true album. And I think too, because in Nashville today they're loading up 30 song albums and stuff like that. Everything's to trigger the algorithm in one form or another, and the singles things too. And I try to do a little bit of both of that. I will put out some singles leading up to the album to kind of create that buzz and stuff. But having something physical, whether it's a vinyl or a CD that I can still sell at the shows, is still really important to me.
Absolutely. And I'm glad there's still artists that are committed to that type of media. And
It it's a lot harder
yeah, right.
to
And
do
more
that.
expensive, and
Yeah,
because people want to consume your music.
yeah.
They're like, "Oh, great song. Where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one?"
For sure, and I think too, when you don't do it every month, a new single every month or every 2 months, that it becomes, it's a little more special when it's just every 2 years. I know, I'm sure you have favorite artists and stuff that you would like. Man, this guy only drops an album every few years, and so it's always a big deal when that happens. And it gives you kind of something to look forward to versus, a guy that's just constantly dropping singles all the time. I understand it's how you have to play the game these days in a lot of ways, but I feel like you can kind of become numb to it after, the fifth or sixth song that somebody releases. Is like, oh, okay, I like this one. He dropped another single, cool, and then go about your day, instead of, man, got a whole new album coming out, kind of thing.
Absolutely. And is there anything you learned recording this album that if you could go back and talk to yourself at the recording studio at your last album, is there
Yeah.
anything new you would tell yourself or
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially for this album, this was my first project with Luke DeJanes and Seth Ernest. They helped me produce this record, and David Flint helped me produce my first two records. And I love those albums. I'm very proud of everything we did. The one big difference in this record that we try to do is because I mostly play, I do singer songwriter type shows, and this still has a full band kind of feel of an album, but everything is centered around the acoustic guitar. And so instead of having a session player come in that can play better acoustic than me all day long, um, I kind of learned this time around that just because it's not better, it might just be more me, and that's a good thing to have on a record. And so we kind of built around that. Seth and Luke are both two incredible drummers, like they're world class drummers, and we basically made an album where they had to take a big step back on like what traditional drums are. So they're with it only being acoustic and not wanting to overpower that in a lot of ways. They were doing anything from, going to get a crankbait out of a tackle box because it had a little bit more, muffled of a rattle that wouldn't, opposed to a regular shaker type of thing. Like anything that they could think that they could do that would be unique, quieter, and also like create the vibe that we were looking for. Like that's what they did. But me playing on the album, it added something to it that I was not expecting. Is it as perfect as those first two records? No, but is it more me? Yes.
that's a great point. And you'll be able to, I mean, obviously because yourself be able to replicate it
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
because we used Well, we had free studio time, my band, and my buddy plays drums, and he's awesome.
Yeah,
And we spent like 3 hours with the drummer trying to get the intro to the song to be able to
sure.
play it live.
Yeah,
And we're just like, and finally we had to like break and be like, call him up,
yeah,
tell him to make a tutorial, because and then we had a session player where the producer wanted all downstrokes.
right.
He's like, I want you to play like you're 14 again.
Hmm.
It was just so unnatural, but
Yeah,
the session player knocked it out of the park.
sure.
It's like, and it's crazy, like you said, like certain things add up and really add to the feel of the song and the production. It's crazy.
And, yeah, and I think in music, especially today, everybody's ear has got so used to perfection. From what they hear. I think there's the good stuff lies within the imperfections a lot of times, I think. And so that's where yeah, this guy could come in and he could play it super clean and a lot better, but there's emotion and soul into when I was writing these songs and stuff like that I just play it differently, and it's not his version might be better, but my version might be right for this particular song. And that's not always the case. Sometimes them guys need to come in there and just do what they do. but
Right.
but for this particular project and what we were trying to accomplish, I felt like that was a big step for me as well, because man, I know, and I'm not going to call anybody out by name, because but like I know some great guitar players that are also artists that they never even played on their stuff, and I didn't know that. That just absolutely blew my mind, because they're incredible. And I'm a little bit more of a songwriter, master of the chord per se, and so it hasn't always necessarily been my forte. It's something that I've gotten progressively better at. But having the confidence now to go in and play in the studio and trust that process, that comes from what Luke and Seth just giving me the confidence that I could go do it, and people weren't going to throw up. So
That's yeah. And like you said, it'll be more you
yeah,
and
yeah. And easier to duplicate on the road and stuff, which is ultimately what you want to do. And we try to set this record up so I could take a band, or I could take a trio, or I could go by myself, and it would translate all the way through. And I felt like we accomplished that.
that's that's good, because like what you were saying earlier, like I won't say either, but I went to a live show and I've seen these guys mime these lead parts,
Yep.
and I'm like looking, I'm like, there's 3 guitar players on there. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
was like, man, I
Yeah.
was shocked. I was
Yeah.
absolutely shocked they couldn't play some of the parts. And this
Yeah.
guy was just, he was kind of like off in the back where they're kind of like, come on stage, and
Sure.
he's kind of like, nah.
I'm
But it
good.
was, yeah, it was crazy, because I'm like looking, because I play guitar. I'm just like looking at their hands. I'm like, whoa, where's that coming from? And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
No, for sure. Absolutely.
And like you said, like that's another guy you have to pay.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, and what we're doing this album release show at the Nashville Palace coming up this Friday night, and I got some buddies that are playing with me in it, which is great. That they played with me. We played shows together probably like 10 years or so ago, and so it's cool that we're all getting to come back as kind of like grown up a little bit, and getting to play this release show together. But we're 5 piece in it, and there's little parts on this album and stuff like that aren't going to be picked up. But I have two really talented guitar players where it's like, okay, you can go and get this and that, as a kind of like, and as an accessory guy on stage, and then like you can hold down the fort while he's doing that kind of thing, and kind of span it out where you can get some of the more intricate parts, cooler parts in there, but with a 5 piece.
Oh, definitely. And the one thing I love about your music, it kind of it's why I like Adam Hood's music. It's got like a really cool groove to it,
Thank you.
where
Yeah.
the song has like a vibe. It has like an attitude to it,
Yeah.
where it doesn't feel like it's more focused on like the riff,
Yeah.
like a really
Sure.
pretty progression. Like your
Yep.
song Flames,
Yep.
that's the hell of a groove right there.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah. I love that song. That was one, man, where we went in and it's like that they put the click in my ear and I went and I played it and we got done and I sang a little like just scratch on it and just with what we had, I was like, that's gonna be really cool. Like I can already tell, like before we even have anything, like that's gonna be a cool song. And yeah, and that's what those guys were able to do. As much as I'd love to take credit for it, but look what Luke DeJames and Seth Ernest did, as just they were able to bring that stuff out a little bit more in my music. And honestly, even through the record making process, like it transferred over to my live show really fast. Where even the songs that I'd already written, they got groovier because of what we were doing. We were kind of able to unlock something there. But Adam Hood, man, like him and Jason Eady both, like they have a groove to their music no matter what they're doing. It's like whether it's a ballad or it's a fast song, it's always got a feel and a vibe to it.
Definitely. And that's it that's a lot of what your music is as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it has a really cool blend of, songs like Flames,
Yep.
and then you got your heartbreak songs, and then you got like the conspiracy
Yeah.
song, and like a couple other songs that it's a cool emotional roller coaster. Kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of Joe Diffie or
Oh man, cool. Yeah.
John Deere
No.
Green, and with I'm terrible at track names. When the ships don't come in, you're like,
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
same guy.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I that man, honestly, if I had to like hang my hat on something that like I'm really proud of, I think that's translated through a lot of my records is it's going to take you on a ride. Like every song is going to feel different. And because I as a writer, like I set out to like get away from anything that I just wrote. And I just because that's how I like as a fan, like my favorite records are the ones that take you on those rides. The ones that kind of stay the same and then just turn a notch here or a notch there. It's kind of like you pick a few off there, but then you have I think of like Meta Modern Sounds by Sturgill or something like that. I feel like that was one that just like you just rode the whole time all the way down through that song or through that album of just like unbelievably creative, different tempos, different subject matters, all the way to the very end.
That was kind of what I really loved about Nirvana too.
Yeah.
They'd have these crazy songs that they just be screaming, and then it like, you're like, what is going on? And the next song would be just chaos. And
Absolutely.
I do love stuff like that
I
because
do too.
like you said, it used to be fun to drive to, but like those old when like man, it was like DJ Tiesto and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
just
yeah.
a little different, but it was still the same kind of vibe. And after a
Yeah.
while, you're just kind of like, man, like how many versions of this am I going to listen to?
Yeah,
But
another one I think too, just like going through names, and a guy that like I've leaned on a ton, inspiration wise. Jim Croce, I think, is another one where you look at like he could go from time in a bottle to roller derby queen to like it's a never ending just ride of different types of tempos and content matter.
yeah, I know the name. I don't think I've ever heard any of his music.
Brother, we got to get you on Jim. We got to get you on some Jim. Absolutely. Like
He,
he in my mind, I mean, he's probably Mount Rushmore of songwriters. He's just incredible. The things that he was able to come up with, because he was able to hit you in a very deep personal place with like some of the most intricate songwriting and acoustic guitar playing like you would ever hear on a record. And then he could turn a phrase like a tongue-in-cheek Jerry Reed song.
hmm.
Like just like that as well, and it just made for a really entertaining show. And I've definitely drawn a lot from those guys. Yeah,
I'll have to definitely check
yeah,
him out because when I think of like artists all over the place, like I think of like Frank Zappa,
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just like this song's called Muffin Man, you know, and it's just like all over the place, and
Yeah,
just the
absolutely.
theatrics. And,
Yeah,
but yeah, stuff like that, music, it's interesting. It keeps it even like I also like even a little change in like a riff in the next verse
yeah.
keeps it all because it can sometimes it just gets repetitive. And
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. And writing for me, that and I'm probably better at it from a writing perspective as a than a melody perspective, or like I think some of my stuff is pretty, it can be just down the middle, country songs, and that's fine. But like lyrically, one of my songs, "Rollin' Stolen," is about a guy that steals a Chevelle to sell fake drugs to the Italian mafia in New Orleans. It's like it keeps you guessing all the way through it, and I love that, and I love writing like that. And I tell guys that are like trying to get into writing and stuff, I'm like, write about whatever you want. Like, don't think because Nashville puts these walls up, or you hear this artist do things a certain way. Like, you can literally write about anything that you want. That doesn't mean that everyone's going to listen to it, but you can certainly experiment and try to get to a place. And I think if we're not trying to do that as songwriters in general, then we're doing ourselves a great disservice, because I don't think there's going to be, many more Tom T. Halls that are just as brilliant as some of those guys were. And I don't know if we can ever be as good as guys like that, but it is our job to try. And it's our job to think of things other than beer, truck, and girl.
yeah, and man, that's really what drove me away was
Yeah.
I mean, even with the voices sound the same, right?
Yeah.
Is this the same guy? And it's just I get it. That's what they want. You put the product in, that worked. Let's do it again and
Yeah.
extrapolate on the same ideas. And like I always bring it up. It's like when I people say you listen to country, I'm like I have to make sure they know
Yeah. What you're
that.
talking about.
Yeah, I'm like the
Yeah.
stuff you're thinking about when you say country.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about
Yeah.
because when people ask, what's the podcast about? I'm like, and I also like Red Dirt, Texas Country, and
Yeah.
all those. And they're like, what makes it Texas Country? And I'm like, it's good.
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I know you don't live in Texas, but
Uh,
I would say he does Texas Country, and
yeah,
it
a lot
how
of
do
the
you
guys I love are that. Yeah, absolutely.
now how there's been a very wild different opinion. Do you like the term Americana?
Um, like, I don't get up in arms about it, but I have a very, very strict version of what I think country music is.
Okay.
And so I don't really wade and bury out of it. Everything that I do is not country music. Like, I want to be 100% clear about it. I know that I sound like, I just fell off the turnip truck, with the accent that I have necessarily, but musically driven, it does fall sometimes a little bit more in the blues world, or in, folk, or Americana, or whatever. So I do think that term is a good just generalization of, these folks are doing roots music, to an extent. But I think, what I do think I have a problem with is calling country artists Americana. I think we've gotten really loose with that term. With I see them like inviting, like Leanne Womack, or Marty Robbins, or somebody, or folks like this, and they're like, oh yeah, these are Americana artists. I'm like, those are country artists. Those are country artists. Just because y'all don't want to crown them on the award shows, that does not make them any less country. Or because I do think that is a hard line, kind of definitive genre, and that's okay, and that's fine. And there are lots of little different, off subgenres and stuff like that, and people neo traditional, whatever you can call it, whatever. I think there's country, and then there's people that play country songs occasionally, and then they go in other directions, and that's okay too. It's music, it's art, it's subjective to different tastes and opinions. But Americana to me it's just roots music. That's all it is. Bluegrass, blues, front porch picking, that type of stuff.
I get you. And yeah, I know some people that, man, if you call their music Americana, it
Yeah,
gets some type of way.
yeah,
And
for sure.
some other people say, well, they don't know what to call us because we don't do what the machine
Yeah.
tells us to do. So they throw us under this term Americana, and
To me,
it
all that means is just American music. Like that. That's what, like, American roots music. Like, to me, that's what that term. And I feel like a lot of people fit. Is it a perfect fit under that umbrella? A lot of times, no. But like they got to put you somewhere so they can hand you the check and the trophy.
yeah.
And so, like, and so, I mean, I get that. Until they all let us, the genre flips again, and Jesus comes back and country music becomes, on major award shows again. It's trying, it's good to see it making a comeback and people have interest and stuff in that music and in that subject matter. But I think that's one of the beauties of country music in general is since the beginning of time, since one guy did something and then they moved on from it, they called that country, and they called the next guy and said that he wasn't country, and that's been going since Hank Williams. So I don't think that's ever going to stop.
Yeah, probably not. But I definitely agree with you that it is changing. I think a lot of people are noticing, like myself, that hey, I like country. I just haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and people are like, folks don't listen to the radio anymore. I'm like, well, you kind of ran them off. You just quit playing what they wanted to listen to. The people that grew up with the radio, like I grew up with the radio, you grew up with the radio, like in a lot of ways. And not saying that there's not good songs out there today. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying their target audience, they quit targeting, and they started targeting a younger audience, a newer audience, with the songs and the content matter that they were promoting. And those folks just didn't want that, so they went and found something else. And the good news is, they found a bunch of independent artists out there doing it kind of the long way around, you know, like Hayes Carl or Corb Lund or Jason Eady, Adam Hood, those type of guys. That's who Sonny Sweeney, Cody Jinks. That's who they ran into because of it steering away from that. So, people are like, well, I really hope country music comes back, and I'm like, well, if it gets worse, I'm probably going to get more fans, honestly.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's nuts how radio like flipped like overnight because your local DJ was a
yeah,
celebrity. If you
yeah,
saw them out, it was a huge
yeah,
deal, and
yeah,
it's wild. Like that's gone. It's
yeah.
it might be someone making a playlist, but honestly, I haven't listened to the radio forever. There probably is still the
There is.
local
So
people, but
I give somebody a shout out. Philip Gibbons here at the Country Giant in Cookeville, as in Cookeville, Tennessee, is a big FM station, and he's had me in the rotation there for a couple years now, and it has made an impact for me for this area, and it's one of those rare cases where. He does have the playbook, and he does get to make the calls of like what gets played. And obviously I think there's a standard of what's coming out of Nashville, and that stuff has to get played, but he does have some control over that. I feel like that what you just said right there is something that does not get talked about enough, because I feel like the disc jockey is one of the most important roles in music history. Um, Honestly, folks like yourself are kind of taking over that role in a new fashion of introducing people to different types of music and stuff, which is cool to see it kind of birthed in a new place. But just like how a teacher like has the heartbeat of a classroom. Like a DJ knows like the music for that area. The music that a DJ in Fort Worth, Texas, would pull in the 80s, it would be different than what a DJ in Omaha, Nebraska would put together. That they would have local guys, and sure, they would still have, the songs of today, just like they do now. But the ability to bring in new artists, I mean, they could make stars then in a lot of ways. And so it was a very kind of a powerful thing to have, that I feel like we're missing these days. But there are still some great ones out there doing it. We actually just lost, I think, to be possibly one of the greatest of all time, over the past couple weeks. A good friend of mine, Bill Cody, that was on 650 AM WSM, the Grand Ole Opry station, and announcer for years on the Grand Ole Opry. And one of the biggest things in my career, obviously, I hope to get to the Opry one day. I mean, that I don't think you ever play country music and don't dream of standing in the circle. I mean, that's one of the reasons you get up and do it. But being able just to cross the airways of the Opry and sit next to Bill Cody and talk about an upcoming project, that was a huge deal for me in my career. It made me feel like that my stuff mattered, and that it had a purpose, that it could be at a place like that. And so I do still think there are places and DJs that make an impact, but it's certainly not what it should be.
I agree 100%. It's it is wild how that disappeared. And I just remember a couple years back, I saw a radio DJ I knew, and he was a young kid,
Yeah.
and the person with him was like, "What's going on?" Because he had quit radio, and I said, "Oh, he used to be famous." And he just rolled his eyes. He's like, "I'm not famous." And I said, "To me, you are. You played our music, dude. Like that's a huge deal."
Yeah.
You go in a store. I remember the one time I went to a store and I said, "What radio station do you have on? What's the playlist?" The guy's like, "What do you care?" I was like, "Whatever. Where's this? This just ruined the moment." I'm like, "I played guitar on that. Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll be back with my stuff to buy." It's yeah.
I still put the time in with it, with probably uh 30 or so stations across the world of people that I've just created relationships with, and they played my stuff and have put me on shows and given me opportunities and stuff like that. And so, we're going to do a lot of that this week. And so I do still think that people are out there, trying to make an impact with it. I just think it's not the impact that it certainly was in the past, that collectively was being made by DJs and radio.
So, in your opinion, like you have an album coming out this June 26th. What's the best way to promote it in 2026? Do you think?
Brother, if I knew that, I'll tell you what. um,
I'm kind of asking for myself too.
yeah, I mean, man, I talked to different artists and friends of mine about this very thing. Not even last week. I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and I we're just all throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks, and
Right.
and it seems that some stuff works for some folks, and some of it works for others. And I think it's what lines up for you personally. Like I'm not a big, I'll do it when there's a song that I want folks to hear, but I'm not a big like every single day sing to my phone type of guy. Like I know that there's tons of guys that do it. I see the engagement that they get, and that's awesome, and I'm glad they're killing it. I just really focus on the live deal. That's what I love doing is playing live and writing songs and stuff. And so, um, I feel very much more boots on the ground. I feel a little bit more like a dinosaur in that aspect. If I could go back, and hang some posters up, I probably would do that. But yeah, I think these days it's you throw it out there. You hope the algorithm shows you a little love, and then and carry on. Because I've seen so many artists. Like even Courtney Patton and Sonny Sweeney. I've seen two separate posts for them lately where they've just tried to get people to engage with their posts, because a lot of the stuff that we're sharing, if it's serious and related to our music, like it don't like it, the algorithms like this is not what we want. This is
Yeah.
not what people find interesting. Like what wait, and then you do a selfie of you riding on a roller coaster or something like that, or with your dog, and it gets 20 times that interaction. And it's like, okay, you have to figure out how to blend those two together in some form or fashion to make it work for you. And that's asking a lot out of some people that just want to sing behind a microphone and write songs. So
Yeah. And dude, it's even from like me, the viewer, it's frustrating to see because Courtney and Sonny are incredible. Like Sonny's
amazing.
bottle by my bed. The first time I heard that, I wish I had a camera on. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is genius. And
Yeah.
Courtney's
So
almost
good.
brought. She's the artist that's almost brought me the closest to just losing it and crying at the rail because I was just like a super. She said something serious. This is what the song is about, and I was glued to what she was saying, and I was just like, just felt the here it comes, and I'm like, oh man,
Man, I've got
yeah,
I've got to open shows for both of them, and even got to play, do like a song swap show with Courtney, and opening the shows is always such a cool experience, because they have such great loyal fans that they've built over years, and they've been so gracious to share those, by letting guys and like myself come out and open for them. And you get out there and you're like, man, this is great. Now I get to watch a Sonny Sweeney show, or I get to watch a Courtney Patton show. And then me and Courtney did the song swap show, and I played one, and then she played one, and then I had to play one again. I'm like, oh, this is not as fun as just sitting there watching. I have to follow this now. I'm not I'm not liking this as much, because Courtney Patton is a freaking hammer, and I don't know who has a better voice than she does, really.
yeah, she's incredible. She's
Yeah.
also hilarious.
Oh yeah.
She is
Absolutely.
so much fun.
Yeah.
I had her and Jamie Lynn Wilson on a podcast
Yeah.
together. Just
Together.
laugh.
That's
It blew my mind. Like it
yeah.
was early in the morning,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, it's just all day with these. Oh man, but yeah, to get up there and to be like, all right, your turn, Addison. I know.
Oh, oh my God! I have to. Yeah, that was. I didn't enjoy that as no. That was an amazing show, and I had a great time. But it's like it really does give you the perspective of just how talented these folks are, and you want to work hard to to be in that same realm, to reach that, to kind of reach that level of mastering your craft. And I look at what those folks do a lot, and so that's where I take my leads from. Honestly, I try to come up with your own unique way of promoting, and driving your product, and running a business like you have to do if you're an independent these days. But I look at what makes those folks successful, and what makes them successful is they go out and they tour their asses off, and they'll do the social media thing. But you look at someone like Edie or Adam, now, or Courtney or Sonny or whatever, so they're all around their mid 40s to 50s now. So they have basically went through before, and then MySpace, and then Instagram, or Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and this and that. And the one thing that I've heard from pretty much all of them is that, it's a tool. It's a tool. It's not your career. It's something to help sell your product. but it's not the entire thing, and so I'm trying to become more integrated in, because I don't want to become a dinosaur and sit here and like, say that I don't want to engage this social media world, because I think you're gonna, you're gonna be working at Sears or Target. If you, I don't think Sears is open anymore.
I was
You're gonna
gonna
be
say
working.
I'd go
Yeah,
Target.
yeah. You're gonna be working at. You're gonna be getting a day job very quickly. I think if you just absolutely shut it down 100%. But also on the other side of that, I think if you invest all of your strength and time into social media, getting that to translate over into a live show is a difficult thing. You got to go out there and sing for some bartenders. You got
Hmm.
to go out there and sing for some people that maybe did not intend on listening to you when they came in there, but you learn the craft of making them listen to you and creating a new fan out of them. And so that is something that I still don't think has gone out of style, and is important as well.
100%, and I saw it this weekend. Uh, Johnny Molinex. He was playing in Philly, and man, there wasn't a lot of people. And I told him, I said, all people just the same with like your music. They just have to hear it. As soon as they hear it's different,
Yeah.
especially up north. They're gonna want to know more. They're because
Yeah.
it was a really cool bar. It was like it was a honky tonk clothing store. They sold vinyl. What
My kind of place.
yeah, it was really interesting. There was the World Cup. They had the World Cup in Philly on the same night, so they were airing the game in the bar, and had like the pool tables and whatnot. And then it had like barn doors that opened up to the music, to the clothing store and the vinyl. And it was $5 to get in, and you just just going to the bathroom, you see people going like, "Yo, what is going on in there?" Because they had never heard anything like it. Especially
Yeah.
he's awesome on guitar,
Yeah.
and people love that. People
Yeah.
love showmanship, and they were just like, and they went in, and you're not going to get the same sensation watching the same thing. If I was recording the same thing on a phone, it's not going to feel. The people that were there that are experiencing it for the first time, they're never going to forget that.
Yeah.
They're never going to forget that
And and
Oklahoma has a sound.
I've said this before, man, and like it's got me in trouble before, but like, not all fans are created equal. Like there's different types of music fans. Some people just take music casually, like they just take it and go. I think as an artist, a lot of times we're like, people just consume music like constantly all the time. That's not a reality. That's not what happens. But you look at it, and you look at someone that's maybe, that sings on on one of the TV shows or something like that, and they're like, well, you look at their social media, and they got 100,000, new fans off that show. Well, those fans didn't watch them play in a bar for three other people. You know what I mean? Those are fans of that television show that when they're off of it, the next season, they'll find someone new to follow on there. That they'll find someone new to go on there. Same way. Like, that there's you can get on there and you're scrolling, you're doom scrolling, and you see so many talented artists, and you give them a like. Is that the same type of fan as the fan that drives 2 hours, to a to a to a Adam Hood show, and buys all the merch, and hangs out, and then is going to go and catch them 2 months later down the road? I don't know if those are the same type of interests as far as fans, but I know where you have to go to get that one fan. You have to go to the venue to get them. That they might exist on social, but that's where they show up. And so I think, I'm really been beating the drum, because I've been hearing the echoes for everybody that that live music is, it's on the fritz. This happened, well, one way or the other, that people are worried about ticket numbers and showing up. And I think people will always want to show up to see a live experience in some way. My generation growing up, we're the Walmart, we're the McDonald's, we're the fast food generation where corporate America really sank their teeth into early 90s babies. And so I personally love analog stuff because I just want something that is organic and something that's real. And I think the more artificial that our worlds get, the more that's going to become something that is just really special. And so if you're an artist out there today, like keep hitting the pavement, man, because I think they're going to come back eventually. I'm not saying stop doing TikTok or stop doing Facebook, but I think live music is something that's really special. And I think it's something that's never going to go away. I think everybody's just a little squeezed right now.
Yeah, it definitely people are squeezing, but I agree, man. Like I love going out to see music. I wish
Yeah.
I wish I had more friends because
Yeah.
I travel by myself
Sure.
terribly. I'm not good. My anxiety, and then I try to cure my anxiety with drinks, and then it's like, how the hell am I getting home?
Yeah.
Where's my car? Like stuff like, but man, like this weekend, I was like, God damn, I
Yeah.
love this,
Yeah.
and man, and on some ways where people will say stuff about live music and whatnot, I can tell you it's a lot easier to see live music because we used to have to wait in line at a box office sometimes the day
Yeah.
before and camp
Yeah.
out and man, well now dude, don't get me started with Ticketmaster and all these
Oh
fees.
yeah, for sure.
I I get so mad. I always try not to cuss, but man, the other day I was trying to buy tickets for somebody. It was like a special, buy one get one, and I look at the ticket fees, $63 for 2 tickets. And I was like, what? And you do
Yeah.
what? You don't even send it in the mail. I don't even get a
Yeah.
physical where I can put it in my scrapbook or in a
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
And man, I hit record. I'm like, listen here, you. And then like come to find out, man, actually, somebody in my family was like in charge of the market up here for like Live Nation.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is my cousin's number? Because he doesn't work there anymore. But man,
Yeah.
I felt like he would have
Yeah. Yeah.
cared. I'm
I
like, oh,
I know, man, and we're gonna have to find our way with it. I do think too that everything that becomes more difficult, something gets easier, and then every time something becomes easier, something becomes more difficult, and that happens throughout all of history and time with music. From and I don't know what it's like, on over there in Fairyland with the tour buses and selling out huge shows. I know nothing about that life and nothing about that world. Like I'm an independent artist. I've been this is my ninth year touring full time, coming up on a decade of doing it. But I started out by playing 4 hour sets, for $100, 4 days a week, around Middle Tennessee and stuff. And have gotten to a place now where I can travel around the world and play. And sometimes I do have 100 people, and then sometimes it's 30 people, and then sometimes it's 10 people. And that's the reality of what it is. You always want it to be more. And when it was 1973, they wanted it to be more then. I think I don't want to fantasize that our world today is just so much worse than it was then necessarily. Um, the fact that we're able to even put out a record and folks can mass receive it and stuff like that is for an independent. That's great, man. That's something that would have been super hard to do, in 1987. To for somebody in Switzerland to listen to me, but they can, and I've been able
mm,
to. I'm going to go headline a festival there this year, and grow it. So, I is it easy? Do I think you got to go get it? Yeah, I do think that. I do think there are some serious fundamental problems with how songwriters have been taken advantage of, how artists have been taken advantage of, whether it's by streaming or ticket places or whatever, and even talk about another subject. We're just going to get in all the trouble on this podcast, but even you look at BMI and ASCAP and folks like that. A lot of times what they're doing for us is not much, but they will go and they will beat these independent venues over the head to collect every dollar of royalty money, that where these venues are all are our bloodline. Like, this is all that we have are these independent venues, and it's choking them out because they cannot afford to pay what is being asked for them. At the same time, we're choking on the other end because our royalties are being crushed by the streaming services allowing AI music to come in and run rampant. I mean, I have seen over the last few years, my numbers, while my music has stayed consistent and my followers have risen consistently, there has not it's like the algorithm moves against you while you're moving up, basically. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and I'm sure there's somebody that can explain it to me, and it probably has something. I need to write better songs or do a better job or something like that, but I think it's there are some fundamental things that could definitely be better to help the case, and I think we should all continue working on them. Because I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I have a new song on this record. It's called Money Business, and it kind of outlies, like, some of the things that independent artists have to go through. But it's not a money business. It's not a music business. This is a people business. Like, the true folks that run this thing, the people that promote it, like yourself, the venue owners, like Buck Bennett out there in Omaha, Nebraska, that runs Bucks, or the Checkered Flag Tavern at Stacy Sneed in Indianapolis, that these guys that put their money and their time and their reputation on the line to bring music to people as well. Like, it's not just artists that are putting things on the line. These fans that go out of their way to support guys that they're never probably going to see on an award show, like that. That's a commitment. That's a commitment to somebody, and it takes all of us to make it happen. It's because if it's just the artists that are doing it, then we're going to be singing songs to concrete.
Yeah. Well, that's like, a lot of the fans that they'll try, they'll fly, they'll go everywhere.
Yeah.
What's incredible is since I've been doing like music like yourself in the scene, I could fly to Texas or anywhere to see you play, and I'll probably recognize one of these guys. That it's amazing.
For sure.
Every time I've gone to Texas, I see like some of the same people. And
Yeah.
they're from like Pennsylvania, from all the way out here.
Yeah.
And it's all for the love of music. And I don't know if you know who Matt Westerman is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
could you imagine like 50 to 100 Matt Westermans at your show?
That's
They're like,
it, man.
they
That's
would
it.
all need their own rail, because that's what they're there. They're there, like, they're there before you probably wake up to play your own gig, just to be at the front, just to be. And it's amazing of how many, and I always love when people know who he is, because that's the dude who sacrifices time and so much and comfort of traveling. But it's great, because if I see a name that I don't know and Matt brings it up, I'm listening to them, because I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be in, with the talent like you are. Like, it's
These folks are the reason why records continue to be made. A lot of times they support these records to be made. They show up, they buy the merch. You literally cannot have a career without that independent crew, man, like they're special. Like, you're right. You can go to these different markets. You can go to Love and More in Plano, and then you can go to Boxcars in Clinton, Wisconsin, and you will see sometimes a lot of the same fans. And if you don't see the same one, they all know each other, because they'll go to Mile Zero, or
Dude,
they'll go to way down in Mississippi Fest for Edie, and folks all see you there, and it becomes like a big traveling family. These folks have done a lot more than buy a T-shirt for me. So some of them have let me crash on their couch. Some of them, some of them fed me. Some of them, help support my tour, and in some ways. And so, those folks are the people that deserve to like be treasured and appreciated, and they're just as much of a driving force of doing this than the independent artists that are doing it to begin with. They're the ones that prop us up and keep us going a lot of times.
definitely. And I always tell people, sometimes people will slide in DMs and be like, how do you meet these guys? And I was like, honestly, you don't need a big TikTok channel. You don't need a podcast. You don't need anything. I said, as long as if they're not playing arenas, if you're like a reasonable artist,
Yeah.
if you love it, and if you be like, man, I love him, I really wish I could meet him, I really wish I could do something for him, I'm like, slide in their DMs.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're traveling. Just say you played a show and you allot it for all night to be traveling. All day is to, load in, get ready, sound check. And God forbid if somebody broke too many strings, they don't have anything, like, because there's no more Radio Shacks. You need a cable, you need a tube for your guitar amp. A lot of times it's drummers. Hey, can you like go get these heads? And it's not that much money, or to take one of these big long trailers to go to, God forbid if there is a Guitar Center, like that's how you're going to be friends with the band. That's how you're going to hang out with them at the end of the night, or at least get, hey, what do you want?
Sell the band's merch for them, man. Yeah, you'll be in instantly forever.
100%. And it's funny, is man, I try not to do anything. Like I won't touch anything on stage, but sometimes it kills me when I know someone's going to get tripped up on the cable. Like I kept seeing that on Saturday night. I'm like, he's going to rip that thing right out of his hand. I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's you can do stuff like that, and you'd be surprised if that's how I've met a lot of people. Like when they're like, dude, our drummer broke all of his sticks. Can you go get, what, they're not a drummer, like A5 Maples. And you're like, okay, whatever the hell that is.
And for the last, I'm looking on. Thankfully, things have been good lately, so I'm looking to add to the team coming up, and kind of grow the operation a little bit. But for the last, decade or so, especially for the last 5 years, I've been doing it by myself, and so like I load in, tear down, sell the merch by myself, and there's a long list of people that have stood at the back of my van, holding one of my merch cases that helped me bring it out after the show. I mean, the people that have done that, I mean, literally probably 500 people have helped me do that. And so, and that's how you meet people after shows a lot of times, sitting there talking, everybody's gone home, and you just kind of chilling. And it does create that relationship. And, I haven't, I'm originally from North Carolina, and that's where that's where my family's at and stuff. And I might get to go home one or two weekends out of the year, and so a lot of times, when I go to Indianapolis, like I have folks there they're like my family. And you have little pockets all over the country of folks that will, that'll take care of you. That they know you're out busting it. They know you're out trying, and that makes you want to try hard for them and stuff too. Like that makes you want to go out there and put on a good show, because you never know what folks are experiencing that day. You never know what they're coming into the show with. We all see everybody else through our own eyes and through our own perspective. So whatever kind of day we're having, that's what kind of day they're having too, and that's not the case a lot of times. And so I try to be mindful of that. But it's been cool, man, because I have a big family out there on the road from Buffalo to Texas, and then all the Europe stuff I've been able to do lately. It's been really cool.
That's great to hear. And what I love is when I speak speaking more and more artists, they said if you want to recharge your soul, European trip. And I love
Yeah,
hearing
man.
that
Yeah,
because their
yeah.
fans are different from what I hear.
For me, honestly, for me, that's been like the crown jewel of like my career so far, is getting to do that. Because one, I didn't think it was something that I would ever be able to do once, much less 5 times, much less get to go do an entire month this year and do like 10 countries. Like, to me, honestly, it still hasn't even really sank in, that I'm going to get to do that, and getting to go play music around the world it's an incredible feeling. It's something special. I Especially being like a rural, like small town kid and stuff. It, Getting to see things like that, it's an incredible thing to me. I love the traveling. If I didn't, this would be a really hard job. So
Yeah.
that part of it's been just super cool. Being able to connect with people that have completely different backgrounds than you, that not even remotely raised the same way, and in some cases raised exactly the same way as you, just 6,000 miles away. You kind of get a mixture of both those things, and it's all connected around country music, which is kind of cool.
That's all. That's awesome that you get to experience that because I've been seeing all these World Cup videos of them being happy to be in America. And that on Saturday, there was a Scottish guy in the bathroom, and he had a couple lattes, so it was kind of hard to understand him. But at the end, like there's one paper towel left, and we split it in half.
Yeah.
And he's like, "It was all a lie. It was all a lie. All the things I heard." He's
Yeah.
just like, I love it. He says it was all a lie. I was like, dude, yeah, granted, you're gonna find somebody that's gonna make you
Oh,
upset
yeah.
anywhere. But I said,
Well,
for the
yeah.
most part, dude, like, hell yeah, we're
Yeah,
cool,
man.
man. We're like,
Yeah. The,
we're
the the
normal.
first the first place I ever went and played was in Liechtenstein. It's a country. I think they got like 45,000 people in
Wow.
the country. It's nestled right between Switzerland and Germany there, and unbelievable sights, like things like you just can't. I grew up in the Blue Ridge Mountains a bunch, and I mean they look like speed bumps compared to the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
I mean it's just an incredible thing, and the people there are so kind and so interested in, and so grateful that you came, and that you're playing and stuff like that. And I really haven't had too many, like, I've had some funny experiences that I've talked about on stage a few times. Like the second time that I went, American Airlines lost my bags for like the entirety
Oh my
of
god.
my time. Oh yeah. And I mean, man, like if you ain't never been uncomfortable before, like try picking out some underwear with a German woman in a little shop. That's kind of a unique experience after being on a plane for like 13 hours. So, but for the most part, man, it's all to me that has filled my cup in more than one way, and it's paid great dividends back over here too, because if you're trying to book places or whatever, and they see that you're playing in Austria or Switzerland or whatever, well, that's not down the street, from them. So you must be doing something, half right if you're able to go and do those type of things. So it has a lot of benefits for sure, and it's something I'm really, really grateful and blessed to be able to do for sure. I don't take it for granted because I know any year that I go that could potentially be the last year that I ever get to see it or do it, and I don't want it to be. I want to make it where I can go every single year, but I go in it with the mindset that I need to take advantage and appreciate every opportunity.
100%, especially with music.
Yeah,
Because man, once you lose it,
yeah,
I was doing like 120 shows a year, and I was still holding a 9 to 5, and then nothing.
yeah,
And it just blew my mind because I was like, oh yeah, good job, guys. When I get a big platform for stuff, because a lot of people are like, how can you play your own music? I'm like, what's the point?
yeah, yeah,
What,
for sure.
there is no point. I'm not gonna be able to play it. I'm gonna be sitting there being like, I don't even remember how to play this song. And
Yeah,
it's like I get scared because I feel like I'm going to be the guy on the porch being like, yeah, I used to play music. People loved me. Like, I did something real cool. And what happened? What did you? Nope. Just kind of all just went away. And
yeah, man.
it
It
sucks.
Yeah, yeah. It's why I mean, honestly, I can't think of a bigger fear. I mean, like to think of like not playing or something. Just that I would be. I mean, and your music does matter, man. You need to keep playing your shit. All right, don't stop playing your stuff. Keep playing your stuff. It matters.
I have so many terrible videos on. I just remember one of my friends in his tour bus, and he said, "Content is content. Do whatever." And I look back, I'm like, I'm not deleting them. But for the people that do find them, they're like, is this really you? This is stupid. I'm like, yeah, it is stupid. I said, but I was trying to get my music out there, and you got
Yeah,
to see what works. And
yeah,
and what's funny is like I was like, maybe I'll do like product reviews. And I just remember doing this review, and every once in a while, like I don't ever I tried to like go in with the mind. The more I did it, the more it got bigger. The more I was like, man, just keep it all positive. Let's not
hmm,
be negative. And I have this review of these strings that I thought were terrible. And I made a video saying, like, man, if the, I hate these strings. And it broke while I was reviewing them. And I'm like, saving it, blah, blah, blah. And I still get some like people will be like, well, and it's just like so much like hatred.
yeah,
You know what?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, they are terrible strings, but
yeah,
yeah. And yeah, it's like, well, I'm never going to get a sponsor being like that. And it's, yeah. And then I had a bunch of just, I made the mistake of buying Complete, and it had all these like cool synths and sounds and
yeah,
stuff and damage and all the Hans Zimmer packs and everything. I started like doing like cinematic things and put them out and make all this weird stock footage.
yeah,
But like it was like an outlet from because the band stuff was done. Because like when you're a musician, I feel like I have to do so. I have to create something, and it's funny. Not a lot of people know I play guitar, and when I do play, as long as it's not acoustics, I'm terrible on acoustic. People go, dude, why don't you do more guitar stuff? And I'm like, well, man, I don't know, because it would be me. Like I have a couple videos of like teaching some riffs of like Treaty Oak, and I go live, and I always feel like I'm like, man, I'm like ruining these people's songs because nobody wants to hear me play anything tasty. They want to see, the shreddy McShreddy just, which I get, and hey,
yeah,
which I love to do. But when I rewatch it, I'm like, it's garbage, you know? Like, and as I get older, I find that more and more of like, you know what? Some songs, they don't need a guitar solo. It's taken me a very long
oh yeah,
time to
yeah,
accept that. I know there's a couple of your songs.
yeah,
I find myself, I'd be like, man, that'd be really, really cool place to solo on. But then there's no solo, and I'm like,
yeah,
it was better that way,
yeah,
you know? Because I'd
yeah,
be like, hey, I'd be in the studio like, hey, how about y'all punch me in right there? And they'd be like, no, this song is based around these heartbreaking lyrics. We don't need you right now.
yeah,
We're gonna let the voice take this.
yeah.
And that listening in the country, that that has been of a discipline that I'm very
Sure.
you just have to know like where does, because some of these guitar players they're virtuosos. They're incredible. They can play with both hands,
Unbelievable.
doing the chicken picking. But
Hmm.
then they could do the bum, 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 it's just the little accents. And when they, they let them run, woo! That's
I'm trying to think. Anthony Olympia played on this new record for me, and he played on my first two singles that I started working with Luke on, and I was like, well, I definitely want him on the record because he's incredible, and so he's definitely a utility guy. Like he can he's an unbelievable guitar player, but that's not. He has a lot of depth to his playing and what he's able to do. And there's a couple songs on there like "What's Left of Me," like that's real still on there. And there's a couple others that also have real still, but like on like Alaska, let me ask you, Alaska, that's on the new record. Like that's him playing, mimicking kind of a steel with a guitar, and the finesse that he's able to have to do that. I was literally riding with a steel player that thought it was a steel, like because I mean that's how good Anthony was able to do it. Some of these guys are just, I mean, yeah, it's a whole nother level.
definitely. And I famously hated pedal steel.
Yeah.
If you set one up, I would leave. It's just, I hate to say everybody I heard like played it wrong. They played it
Mhm.
how some of these songs on the radio, it doesn't complement the song. And
Yeah.
there's too much reverb. It takes all the frequencies away from the cymbals. And it's
Yeah.
just like how much country can we get in this song?
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
saw it live done by somebody that knew what they were doing. And I was just like blown away. And it
My whole thing is if you're gonna have it, like I want to hear it, I want to hear it played, like and I think in all of our stuff for the most part, like it's well, when it is showcased, like it's up front and stuff.
mhm.
The one thing I can't stand is is it just it never having a moment in a song, but still being on the song. Like it's just intentionally buried underneath
100%.
everything of the wall of sound, and then you'll hear just like a little slide in right here,
Yeah.
just to say that they had it,
Yeah.
more or
More
less.
country. It,
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way. I'm like, what are you doing in there? Like, eh, and I always loved in the '80s of how when people go, I was like Brett Michaels, CC talk to me, and I love the part of your song. You're like, and the steel cried,
Yeah.
and you can hear it. You're like, yes, it did. I was like, I love that. And like in your songs, like everything has a purpose to the groove, and you can. What I really love is everything has its like own layer where you can focus on all the instruments, but in entirety, you're not straining to hear anything, and
Yeah.
it's just everything. It's an organic song, and there's no filler, and I love that. And
Yeah.
because
Thanks.
like Flames is a hell of a groove, but when you break it down, there's nothing on there that is like the magic tool or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
the
man. Thank
rawness.
you. Yeah, that's a huge compliment, man. Because like the stuff that, those are my favorite types of records. Like when we sat down and we talked about like our vision for how we wanted to go in the studio. I think about like some like Keith Whitley records and some Alan Jackson records and stuff like that, where Alan's voice kind of is the nucleus, right? It kind of sits here, and then everything dances around it. Like it'll even like you'll hear the fiddle like cut in front of it, and it's super warm and it's super up front. And I mean, you can hear you can hear the bow drawing across like the fiddle. It's so up front, and then when the steel has its time, like it steps in, and like everybody plays its part. And it's not, you wouldn't go, this is a steel song, or this is a Telecaster song, or this is this or whatever. Like it's all of it all the time that kind of helps like set the table for what Alan was doing there. And those are the records like that I've always like really loved, because I like to do what you just mentioned. I love to listen to something and just ride with that part all the way through the song. I think that the best way to grow your ear a lot of times is to do that. Is to take one of your favorite records and just listen to the drums throughout the whole record. Like really focus in on just what that drummer was doing, what his vision was. Same thing with Steel or anybody that was on it. And you'll see how they produced it. And if I have like a riff with how a lot of things are produced these days, because I mean it's not that people are untalented or it's not good or anything like that. It's all just preference. But it really does feel to me, and this is my old man yells at clouds thing, but it just sounds like a wall of sound, and we're just rushing as quickly as we can to get to a chorus. We're just whatever we can do to get to that chorus as quickly as
Yeah.
possible. That's what we're doing. And then like you can't really hear any distinction within the instruments a lot of times, and there are just way too many talented people playing on these records for that to be the case, I feel like.
Yeah, that's like that. Don't bore us. Get us to the chorus.
That's it, man. That's it. Like that. They don't even. I mean, they have to tell me to quit putting third verses in a song. Like these guys don't even put like second verses. They like half a second verse and we back in.
The only thing, man, the only one of the song structures of country that some of like the great ones. There's like a couple songs I can't even think of one. Well, they just repeat the same line at the end of the song over and over and over again and just fade out. I'm like, we could have done that 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like it has to be this long, and I always wondered if maybe it had something to do with the position of where it ended up on a
Yeah.
vinyl, so they could jump to the next track. I was like, there's got to be some kind of technical engineering that I will hope to myself, because these greats would have to know, like, it's not
Yeah.
like, at the end of that one Rage Against the Machine, I won't do what you tell me.
Mhm.
That's intentional. And I heard something of some metal bands. Well, and on the other side, I love the other science behind it. I don't even know if it was like, peer reviewed. Of some bands will use repetition to get you angry, because as humans, we hear the same thing over and over again.
Really?
We get annoyed, kind of like, hey dad, hey dad, hey dad, hey dad. Going like, ah. And I was wondering, I was like, man, that's even more of a thing. If you have to like sit and be like, think of the psyche of your listener.
Yeah.
How are we
Yeah.
gonna drive? And I imagine country guys at the time they'd be like, nah, it would hit different if we put some reverb wash in there or something, and just because with steel is very versatile in
Oh, yes, absolutely.
you can keep it clean and
Hmm.
really get that clarity. And man, some of those slides, I love when a steel slides up and matches the note with the singer or
Yeah.
even another guitar,
Yeah.
and it can just go down and you hear it and it's out.
Yeah.
And in your brain, you're like, bring it back up. And sometimes it's like right behind the beat a little bit, and then
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pleasure. I
Yeah.
love that. It creates tension, and
For sure.
your brain's wired for that. That's why, for some reason, our brains are wired to like the 12 notes,
Yeah.
and
I,
it prefers.
and you think like and there's some like non-country guys that have done, like, you think like the Birds, or like Elton John even has some songs and stuff like that where they use some steel that kind of works in the fashion that you did. And I love those types of things. Like listening to steel on other types of music too is kind of a cool thing where they're not, it's not like I said, it's not my rigid version of what I think like a country song is, but like it's an Elton John song that's like paying tribute to like a country song that they splash some steel in here, like kind of for. And so I love stuff like that too. And yeah, it's extremely versatile. And the thing with things being versatile is it leaves it open to be done really well and not really well all at the same time.
Right? Yeah, that's because for me, the steel, it was just, I, I was like, man, it sounds like Cats on Fire. It sounds
Yeah.
terrible. It was all just
Yes.
screechy, and it's like with the head.
Yeah, sure.
But that was kind of like all that radio stuff, and I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine seeing like they're like in Logic, like there's probably no peaks or valleys, and I can't stand that. I want to hear, I want to hear the waves. I want to hear the dips. I want to hear the emotive of the song. And that's why I like the organic sounds
Yeah.
of everything.
And then just being like sonically balanced,
Yes.
all the while too, can really, if you're not careful, you can get like super top heavy with that steel, because they'll have the steel and then they'll have the B3 and then they'll have, I mean, all of a sudden you're cruising up there and the bass is not enough to anchor it. You need something else. And I feel like that we were able to do that on that song because we do have some songs on here like Spring of '84 where we have a steel type of like thing and we have some fiddle on it and there's a little mandolin vibe and stuff too as well, and so it's got a more of a bluegrass thing, but we would anchor it with like a baritone guitar behind it to kind of give it some low end, give that stuff a place to, you know some area to go to basically, versus it's just all up there all the time and it's up to the singer to try to anchor it or the bass to try to anchor it.
Baritones they're an interesting instrument. They can.
I use a lot on my stuff, man. I really like it on my stuff. It's we used it on quite a few songs on this record. I think that I think it does a lot without trying to do a lot, which is my kind of. It can be played very simply and get across what it's trying to do.
Less is more
Yeah.
type thing. I feel the same way with the upright bass.
Yep. Yep.
They're amazing.
Absolutely.
I'd known about them. I only knew them from like, God, like I guess ska. And when like
Yeah.
God, I'm like, I know all these names are just like, GoDaddy-O and all that. And but you don't really hear it to the extent of like when you hear it like in a style like of what you do, you're like, man, just it makes a huge difference, and it's
Yep.
really not doing anything different than like a regular bass is. But
Yep.
my God, it's Corb Lund has
Yes.
oh my God, the first time I saw him live, and I was like, this is all this is these this, they're gonna make all this sound with just this many people, and to hear an upright bass actually play live that for the first time was like, man,
I
this
mean,
is
you talk
awesome.
about somebody that just has their own sound. I mean, and that's what I love, man. I love these guys, and it's what I'm trying to accomplish as well. Is like, can you carve out your own lane in country music? Can you carve out your sound in country music, or are you just going to do a cosplay of what's already been done before? Because we know what Alan Jackson sounds like. We know what these guys sound like. We know how they did it. You know, it's really tough to duplicate because they were very special people that did it. Corb Lund's another one of those songs like if you go to Nashville writers right now and you're like, write me, write me another Cows Around. Like, are they going to be able to do that? I don't know, man. Like, he just has his own vibe and his own feel, and I feel the same about Hayes. It's just like they just have something that's just uniquely special about their writing and their playing and their delivery and all the way through. That it's something that I've really admired. A lot of the folks that we've talked about today, um, they've been a big reason why my music is kind of the way it is, because I came to Nashville just like everybody else. You listen to the radio. This is what country music is, and then I get obviously there were things happening. I moved to Nashville around 2011, so it was just starting to get a little ugly, with some really big swings that were happening musically, on top 40 country radio. Um, and then I started driving. I was working for Lumber Liquidators, and I was driving a forklift, and I would drive around on that thing all day, and I'd throw my, I got a Spotify account, and I'd throw it up, and I'd hear guys like Chris Knight and like Hayes and stuff, and I was like, I didn't realize that you could just do whatever the hell that you wanted to do. I thought you had to do what these guys said you had to do. I thought the standard was set by Nashville. These guys set their own standard, and if you can't be controlled, man, then that's about the that's about the best kind of art that you can make, is the kind that can't be controlled.
Right. Now, have you met Corb?
I have not. I have not. It's high up on the list. Playing a show with him is definitely high up on the list.
Now, if you had a chance to meet Corb and you could have him listen to one of your songs from beginning to end, do you have a song that you think would be right up his alley?
I think he would like Flames. I think he would like the rawness of Flames. Like if we were like take one off this record and pitch it to him, that would probably be one that I would do. I think he would like Money Business too, just because he's living the life and everything, and Run Them Roads too. I think that's something that it's a little bit more. Southern American based, like lyrically, but if you swap some lyrics for some more Western or Canadian things, like I think I could see him maybe digging that as well. But man, that he's such a master, a true master of the craft. He really is. There's a reason why he's been able to do it like he's done it for so long. And every single record, man. And I feel this way about a lot of the guys that and girls that we've talked about today. It's the ability to put out another project and still keep it fresh, and where it doesn't sound like you've necessarily been there before, or you're willing to at least take some new risks, but keep it in the same frame where you're being true to yourself. I feel like a lot of times when people think about like taking risk, that they feel like they have to, if they do that, they're not being true to themselves. I think you can be true to yourselves and still grow musically and still take your art, a different way. And I mean, George Jones's music wasn't that what he was cutting in 1962 was not the same stuff that he was cutting in 2002. Were there similarities? Yeah, but was it the same stuff? Absolutely not. Like, he grew in different ways as an artist as he did, and I admire that a lot about these guys. Silverado is another one. That those guys, just record after record. Wilder Blues, another one. They continue just to put out awesome freshly made records that stay true to their sound, and that's what we're going to try to do with this one too.
Nice. Yeah, those were all great, great people to
Yeah,
highlight that
yeah,
from with. I was going to say, Corb, he surprised me. I got to meet him at Mile Zero.
nice.
Of he loves death metal.
Yeah, yeah, man,
He's
he's a
like,
rocker. I knew that.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah. I was like, you like Norwegian death metal? He's like, yeah. And I'm pretty sure, it's Mile Zero. I have some drinks. And I said, yeah. He didn't know who I was, and I was explaining because somebody introduced me to him. They're like, you're gonna want to talk to him. He likes heavy metal, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I love this one song. I said, I just don't like the snap tracks, or what. And he was like, what? He said, that's not what that was. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure we had like that. And he was just laughing. He goes, no, it was me slamming on like a piece of wood, and it's organic. And I'm like, oh, I apologize, because he looks like he could knock a
Oh
cow
yeah,
out
dude.
with a punch.
Yeah,
I'm like, this dude is
yeah,
corn
yeah.
fed. Like
He's working on that farm.
yeah. Oh, dude,
That ranch.
he was such a cool hang. I was like, man.
Yeah.
And then his live show, his guitar player was playing guitar, going to the lap steel and back, and it just got spinning around up, and he's just, and like the one song he had, like Guitar on the Wall, I'm pretty sure it's called. It's just like that song. It's just like you could like live a movie with songs like that.
Man, absolutely. I mean, and that's what those guys, man, they do such a great job of painting that picture. And that's, I mean, that's all you can really ask for as a songwriter. But doing it, and me and Jason, Edie were talking about this the other day, like being able, we were talking about books and stuff. So we were talking about like Hemingway, and this is like, it's like if we asked those guys, like, could you put it in, 3.5, 4 minutes? Could you do that? I wondered if they, because they're brilliant writers, right? They're genius writers, but can you take like these amazing stories and then put them in a consumable fashion that are not only entertaining to listen to, but you can sing to them, and they're fun to drive to, they're fun to dance to, they make you want to cry, like that right there is the art. And those guys have just done it time after time. I think of songs like that just put you in the area, like Hayes's like Beaumont, or Dig Grave Digger Dig by Corblund, like that. That's such a fun song, man. Like I love that song so much. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of those guys, man, and they've shaped me so much. All that and a lot of this stuff. So yeah, getting to tour with those guys, getting to play with those guys, that would be that would be a truthfully like a dream come true to get to do that. So I hope I get the opportunity one day.
Definitely, because your sound and the way your songs are. If somebody didn't know your name, they would definitely know your name after
Yeah.
that,
Thanks,
because they'd be
brother.
like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is exactly what I like about music."
Yeah, man.
And that's what's cool when you're like, "Hey, I like this guy. I like his music. I wish I could write like him." And you kind of already do. When you listen to it, because it's like it's what I love about it. It's weird to say. It sounds like human beings making music, which is such a weird
Yeah.
thing to say, because
Oh man.
it's been lost. And I'm glad there's some people that are just, no, we're doing it the way I grew up. Because it's a risk, which it shouldn't be at all.
Yeah.
And it's just, and people, I've told people that. I said, it just sounds real. And they'll be like, I keep getting told that, and I don't really understand what that means. I'm like, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling when I put on your music, I'm hearing real people, and I'm going to hear it again in that fashion
Yeah.
when I go see it live. And that's something that, man, I love heavier music, but they're playing the samples. If they're feeling a vibe, if your guy's feeling a vibe, you're going to look at him like, dude, take a couple extra bars. The people love it. You
Dude,
can't do that with
yes,
samples.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah,
It
man.
sucks.
And I'm sure everything has a purpose to an extent. I, I don't even know if that's even true with all of this. I'm just saying it because it sounds good. But the Suno and all that stuff, like I'm sure like it helps somebody with something that it's important, and so I'm not trying to be insensitive to whatever that thing is. But as far as like making records and stuff goes, like it's like what we talked about earlier too. You know, just like how somebody like me writes and then goes and sing, like that's how I share my emotion in a song. But that guitar player that's showing up for that session that day, you don't know what's going on through his life. You don't know what he's feeling that day, but he's going to take whatever all that is and he's going to naturally just put it into his playing. And then it's going to go on this record and it's going to live forever. And what a cool thing, man. And that's something that just cannot be duplicated through a sample or through AI or through anything. And I'm sure it's going to get a ton better, and we're all going to be tricked by a song or here or whatever. But for me, I think it's the difference just between you know when you're walking through a hardware store or something and you pick up a tool and one is metal and the other one's plastic. You just know it by the feel of it. You can just tell by the feel. No one had to tell me that this was a cheaper one. I could just tell it felt cheaper. And I think when real humans are able to take things that they've learned, but because like how I play guitar is not the perfect way to play guitar. Like how I write songs is not the perfect way to write songs, and especially how I sing them. But it's uniquely my stuff, and how guys go in there or a producer produces something that's uniquely their thing, and we all go in here with maybe different ideas or no ideas at all, and we create something together. And we did that. We sat in this room and we'd go, hey, well, we really like what you're doing there. Why don't you take another swing at it, because you're all over something there that's really unique. Uh, I don't understand how you're supposed to do that with an AI. Do you just type it in and say, hey, could you try that again, but do it this way, do it this way this time? For me, what the things that I'm good at are not the same things that guy is good at. So he is going to bring experience and things that I could never tell him to do, because I don't have those same experiences. When you skip around that fact, you're missing out on all of that stuff. And so yeah, does it take 25, 30 grand to make a record? Yeah. Did it take me 2 years? And thankfully I've been able to put a program together where been able to bring some local businesses on, and different sponsors and stuff, and so that's helped offset it. It's very, very hard to make records. It's very, very expensive. It's expensive to buy the vinyl and do all this stuff. But man, like that's just cost of doing business. Like if it took me 4 years to do it, that's just how long it would take. Like I'm just not, that's one corner that it's just not worth cutting in any way to save a dollar or to do something. And honestly, if it got too expensive to make records, I'd just set up a mic and just cut it. Cut them myself, and then bring in whoever I could afford to play it, because I just think that the minute that you cheat that, you cheat your art, you cheat yourself, and then you're cheating your fans, and I don't think it lasts much longer for you after that. That's just my personal opinion.
100%. And man, imagine sending something you made with AI to like one of your friends
Yeah.
that knows. Like, how disrespectful. Like, what do you mean you were in the studio?
Yeah.
No, you weren't. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Hey man, like I said, in the words of uh, Jerry Jeff Walker, I'm just a buffalo singing the dinosaur blues. So
Yeah, that is cool that you are doing albums, and and it's great because you want to do it,
yeah,
and you can, like Addison Johnson, and it's your business,
yeah,
it's your product at the end of the day, and being independent, you don't have anybody tapping your shoulder like, yo, I need 4 singles in this whole month of June.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
you got a
yeah,
whole album this Friday on
yeah,
on the
yeah.
26th.
Yeah, yeah, and then we're gonna go tour on it, and we're gonna go all over the place and try to play for folks and do the thing, and I I don't know if people 50 years from now will travel around in a little white van and and do things like that, but I certainly hope they do because there is a magic about it. There is a romance about the road. It is a very tough way to live, but so is being a coal miner. There's a there's a lot of tough jobs out there. So I think it's you make it. It is what you make it, and if you go out there and you make it your own, and y- if only 15, 20 people show up, man, go out there and play like it's 2000 and just like make those people love it. And that's what I like doing night after night, man. I don't it be honest with you, like the rest of the BS of the chasing the algorithm this way or the other, or trying to think about creative thing to post this day or whatever. It's just never been my thing, and ultimately that might be something that holds me back a little bit. But I think for everything like that holds me back, I lean into these old school artists that I've been touring around with over the last decade or so, and I see the people that are making a living doing it, and so those are the people that that I lean on for that that expertise and that experience, and things I think things will always change, and it'll continue to change, but as long as I have the opportunity to, I will tour the old school way of touring. I will record records the old school way of making records and putting pickers on them that I believe in, and it some songs on it might be traditional country, some of them might be bluegrass, blues, whatever. I try not to aim it too much, man. I told a guy the other day, it's like a lot of the songs I write for me. All of them I really write for me, and if people like them, I put them on a T-shirt. If they don't like them, I still play them. I just don't put them on the damn T-shirt, so anybody that wants to, give me an opportunity, and by sitting down one day and listening to my art, I'm forever grateful for that. I But whether anybody's listening or not, I'm still going to try to do it. So.
And there's people that definitely respect those principles as
Yeah,
well. That probably make them even bigger fans
yeah,
to see that everybody's doing this, but I appreciate someone doing the
yeah,
way, kind of like how it used to be. Drop
yeah,
your album, tour on it.
yeah. What a concept.
Yeah, save up for the next one.
Yeah,
Drop it, tour it.
yeah, that's it.
You know,
And just being able to look back on a career, and I look through these guys like you do, you get your favorite artists and stuff, and I go through their albums, and I'm like, it's snapshots of where you're at or where they were at that particular time in their lives, a lot of times, and and really the way that singles are being done and stuff, it's people act like this is the first time it's ever been done like this, and it's really not. It's been done like this before. They had they had a ton of knockoff records and stuff back in the early, I guess it would be like mid 50s, like early 60s, where they would have these country singers and stuff, and they would go and record their own stuff. But just like today, these venues and stuff like that did not want to pay for the licensing that it would take to get to either fill their jukebox up or fill whatever it was. So they would buy these knockoff records, and so you could get, you could get George Jones sing a Ray Price song or something like that, or a Hank Williams song. And so that they would mass produce these. So these are all in these guys' discographies and their collections a lot of times. And you'll go through and it's like, oh, you can see it, like they mass produce this record as kind of like a knockoff. It's still great. It's still awesome, but it's kind of the same thing that's being done today, where it's like you just do put 30 songs on an album. Like, to me, that's just as bad as releasing, 15 singles back to back to back to back. Because to me, this should be a body of work, like a true, like, experience for the listener, not let's cram as much as we can so we can profit as much as we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's it's just oversaturation
Yeah.
of your art. That's
Yeah.
never a good thing too.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And it can still be great, and it can still be too much. Just because, like, I have an opinion one way or the other doesn't mean that these people aren't talented or they're not putting out great music, because a lot of times they are. I feel like we can be misled sometimes at how we package it. Not that I know everything, but I do think there's a reason why they did it for like 80 years like this, and because it's kind of the standard and how people will like to consume it. And I think you can, I mean, I love concept records. Like, you listen to like the Redhead Stranger or something, cover to cover, like that right there is an experience in itself. you know um could you imagine if he was trying to put 30 songs on that record? You know what I mean? It sounds ridiculous to say out loud, but ultimately, we're being robbed a little bit, I think, from that things. And also, I think it makes the songs not as, like, legendary or big to the fans, when, they might pick out, 7 or 8 songs out of that 30 that they connect with or something like that. But when there's only 11 on the record, it's like, man, these were our horses right here. This is what we decided to go to war with, for these 11 songs for the next 2 years, to bring to you guys. Like, this is what we came up with, versus, hey, we recorded a box set, we hope you enjoy it. So,
Right. Yeah. That's amazing. I haven't heard the word box set in a while.
yeah, I know. Well, I'm probably aging myself now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember them, and that's a lot of the box. That's when you got all like the B sides.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
hear it, you're like, that's the same song I love.
Yeah.
They used to release garbage. I miss it.
Yeah.
Because it's cool. Like, you hear it'll say demo, and
Yeah.
it's absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they'll have like B side. You're like, all the lyrics are different. It just sucks. And then you listen to like what it became.
The producer was like, "This is what it sounded like before I showed up,"
Right? Yeah, there used to be a lot of that. But I guess now, I don't know. It's like they want everything to be perfect. I said, man,
Yeah.
how can you say that when I remember stuff being the first Metallica record, he had laryngitis.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
voice doesn't sound, but the talent shines through. And there's so many. If you listen to it today, you'd be like, this sucks. This sound sucks. And it's like, man, back in the day, we used to listen to stuff like this because that's all they had before,
Yeah. Tyler Mahan David Allen Coe's son, did the Cocaine and Rhinestones podcast, and went through like a really deep dive of George Jones's stuff, and I've been obsessed with it. I've probably listened to it like 15 times, and he would a lot of times point out, especially in some of his early recordings, of these things that we just kind of accepted as a listener, that like they meant to do it like this, obviously, or it wouldn't have come out on the record. And a lot of times this was the best take that they got. And like, George was getting a little too drunk by the end of it, and like, this is the one that we had to go with, but he said this word kind of weird, and it ended up making the whole song. like people will like, purposely sing that line because he sang it kind of funny, but had no intention of doing that whatsoever. It was just a mistake that ended up becoming the song. And you miss a lot of that. I think that's my favorite stuff, man. Is being able to hear that. And as somebody that sings live, that has been one of the big things that, like, a friend of mine has been like trying to tell me about is like, look, man, this is why people come. That they want to see you. They want to see you forget the second verse. That they want to see you miss this chord, and then they want to see you nail it too. They want to see it all. That's part of the experience. You can try to go out there and be perfect, and you won't be. And the only person that's going to be upset about it is probably going to be you. That because that's why they showed up, because they wanted to see it for real, not the record. If they wanted to listen to the record, they'd stay home.
That's so true. I just saw a video of Ashley McBride, and I don't know who's talking to her. Just like, how many mistakes are you going to make tonight? She goes, minimum 3. And at the
Yes.
end of the show, I said, how many mistakes did you make? She goes, I lost count. But that's it. That is what you are looking, especially as a musician. You're like, oh, and
Yeah.
and you can tell the face. You're like, yeah, we all saw that. We were
Oh
all
man!
there.
Oh, and when they're hanging on, man, like I think as a fan too, like, man, I'm a fan first. Like, I'm a fan before I'm an artist, and like seeing a guy that's just hanging on, like that's playing something blazing fast, and he is on the edge of losing it. Like, I mean, that's Shakespeare, man. Like, that's why you buy a ticket. Like, that's good stuff, man. I really really enjoyed it. Enjoy that for sure. And there's going to be some of that happening this Friday at the Nashville Palace. I don't do too many full band shows. I do a handful a year, and we had the way my tour schedule has worked this time. We had one rehearsal for about 3 hours. So we're going to get up there and we're going to just throw it together and see how it sounds. And there's going to be mistakes, and then there's going to be times that we nail it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And so, for folks that are listening, if you're in or around the Nashville area, come out. I think might be like 20 tickets left or something right now for it.
Nice.
And so I think it's going to either sell out or get close to it. So looking forward to that. It's gonna be a big day, man. Like I said, you kind of for me, it's a little bit bittersweet just because you kind of work so long to get to this point, and then once it's out, and then. But I'm also looking forward to, I've spent a ton of time with these songs. I'm looking forward to going out and touring them where the fans are getting to hear them, and then I'm also looking forward to writing some new stuff and bringing in some fresh stuff and getting ready to start the process of working on the next record that'll be out 2 years from now. So
Yeah, the never-ending
that's
revolving
it, brother.
musical door.
That's it. But man, I just want to thank you so much. I've actually I've been a fan of this show for a long time. I've watched a bunch of stuff that you've done on here. You've had a lot of my friends on here, and I really appreciate you and Steve having me on and letting me come on here and talk about my new record and giving us a platform to do that, man. Because like when I mentioned about, yeah, we don't have the DJ so much anymore, but we have great folks like you that give us the opportunity to reach new fans, and I truly mean that, because now where there is so much information, and you would think there's a million opportunities to gain new fans, it seems like it gets harder and harder to reach the right fans. And I know a lot of the right fans listen to this podcast. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And yeah, just the state I'm in is coming out on Friday, June 26th. And all of my upcoming tour dates will be on AddisonJohnsonMusic.com. 27 states this year, I think, 120 total, and then 8 or 9 countries, I think, is what it will end up being. All that stuff and all that ticket information is all on there, and we'll have some fresh vinyl on the website as well here in a couple weeks for all the folks that like those things, and a bunch of new merch and stuff as well. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much having me on.
Dude, thank you for coming on, because I know artist times, it's precious when you have time.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, everybody, if you can, go see Addison Johnson and check out the record. Hell yeah.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man. Dude, safe travels.
Yeah, no, I know. I have been doing too much sleeping in the van here lately. It's getting a little hot for that now. I'm gonna have to upgrade to the Red Roof Inn here before long.
There you go. The Super 8. Not the hotel in your one song, Country Inn.
The Country Inn, yeah.
But yeah, thank you for coming on. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
So, yep. Enjoy the rest of your night, Addison.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, thank you.